There's something out there, isn't there?
Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate your choosing our theater. To make this experience more enjoyable for everyone, we hope you'll refrain from talking during the show. Enjoy the movie. Thank you.
My name is Donald Trump, and I'm a big fan of his.
I'm not here to eat your fucking shit. You fucking got that?
What?
Falling, dreaming, talking in your sleep. I know you want to cry all night. Plotting, scheming, finding reason to defend all of your violent nights.
Do you think you're a genius or a really sick person?
Well, Valerie, I don't know.
You take drugs, Danny?
Every day.
Good.
You could fly. Nobody can touch you. Nobody.
It's easy to manipulate the weather. What if I told you off the coast of California, about 150 miles out, there's 5 shipping container ships. These ships are gigantic. 5 of them, tied end to end. And they have great big turbofans on them, about 15 feet and 20 feet in diameter. And they're aimed at our jet stream. And they can turn all those fans on and they can manipulate our jet stream and move it up. They can shove it up into Canada in the wintertime so it brings ice cold to the Northeast and the Great Lakes. They want heat, they can shove the jet stream down so it warms up over California and Arizona, and then it moves back up naturally and cooks and causes tornadoes through Texas and Oklahoma and Tennessee, which creates hurricanes in the Gulf and Florida, Haiti. They can move the jet stream wherever they want.
Deep state?
Yeah. Yeah.
You've never shied away from having controversial people on this show. Suck the dick, drink the piss. Lots of times we platform views that I may not agree with. And today we're having our most controversial guest of all time.
Fuck this class, fuck the entire university, fuck the job, fuck all of you!
It scares me. I want to forget it all. But whatever this is, feels too important. What is it?
You guys want to get high?
All right, here goes nothing.
You mean smoke marijuana? Nope, even better. It's called...
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing.
I killed them. I know, I killed them.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Watch this.
How many patients have you been able to cure so far?
I would say 1.
How many people have I cured? Well, there are no real cures right now in psychiatry.
I don't know that any of us are ever completely cured of anything.
What kind of biological tests do we have available today for detecting mental illnesses?
None.
I always felt like I was throwing darts in the dark at my patients and had hurt some of them.
lithium.
Bremron is another.
Trazodone.
Secretol. Depakote, Lobotrin,
Lexapro. Lamictal.
Equitroid.
Depakote.
Lithium.
Ambien.
You may need an antidepressant also with Lamictal.
There is a reason that most psychiatric medications have black box warnings. Give them to the wrong person and you can precipitate a disaster.
We don't know if I give you a medication if it is going to work or not.
To a certain degree, it's trial and error.
I have cured none of my patients.
Who benefits? The people who make the diagnosis.
I recommend take the vaccines. I did it. It's good. Take the vaccines.
What I did with the FDA is I forced them to move quickly, and we got the vaccine done in 9 months instead of 5 years. I don't think it would have ever been done, frankly, because according to their rules and regulations, they would have never had it. And we gave up to 1.3 million shots a day before he even took over. So not only did we have the vaccine, and one thing we did, we took a big bet on this. We started manufacturing the vaccine before we really knew it worked. We saved many, many months and millions of lives by doing that, because you wouldn't have the vaccine right now if we didn't take that chance. We knew what we were doing. We knew that we felt strongly it was going to work. And we took a risk, and the risk was spending billions of dollars to develop it before we knew and before we had the approval that it was going to work. It works incredibly well, 95%, maybe even more than that. It works incredibly well, and it's really saving our country.
Because I'm getting away from politics, because politics is fucking gay. It's all gay. We all know the problem. Jews are running everything. They've owned our politicians. Money talks. The people who are paying off our politicians, that's who they're working for. They're not working for the American people, okay? So what's the point of even talking politics? Oh, Trump gave us a fucking bone? Oh, he threw us some table scraps? Thanks. Thanks. I'm on my knees fucking so grateful to you, Trump.
Stop. You're hoping for Donald Trump to secretly be working on some version of 6 million D chess is fake. And as long as strong guys like you are watered down and weakened, worshiping him or hoping or planning, trusting the plan, it's neutering the most patriotic, pissed off patriots that our country has to offer. And that's what pisses me off, because it has you going, hold on, I'm going to chill on my patriotism for a minute while I just trust the plan and hope and pray that Donald Trump is going to do something. Let me tell you what he is doing. He's building a gold statue of himself in Israel after he bombs the out of those kids and builds Trump Gaza atop their bones. That's what the this guy's doing. Judge a man by his fruit. The fruit's rotten.
I'd love to hear your thoughts on the current conflict. But everything's happening? It's all an illusion? Yeah. Wow, that guy is one of the greatest optimists I've ever seen. How you doing? Can I ask you a couple questions? Yeah. Yep. So somebody just threw a water balloon at us. And now there's a crowd gathering because they're going to, they're saying that they're going to chase us away, and they're gathering numbers now. So there's a big flock of people that's going to chase us. Yeah. I'm not. So I'm not allowed to talk to anybody in the country? I'd say we're not very wanted around here. This place is no joke. We were down there just trying to talk to people.
What do you see here? Of majority of people here don't think like them.
Yeah, I think we've found enough peace here today. It's no joke. I'm going to my car. I'm going to my car. Dude. Yeah.
Jewish.
I'm going to my car.
Jewish, understand?
Learn people language so I can fuck them in the ass after.
There you go. There you have it.
Brother, no problem. We like the money, not like you guys. You goy. You know what is goy?
Yeah, you did this. You did this.
Ah, very good.
Yeah, exactly.
What is this? What is this? 9/11?
Yeah.
9/11, it's the best.
Yeah, you Jews own everything up.
Everything, we rule everything, brother, you need to understand. We eventually will rule the world. 10 years from now, it's not France. It's Francistan. It's not Netherlands, it's Netherlandistan. Yeah. Belgistan. Yeah. Wait, brother.
You did that.
Of course, you deserve that. I swear I'm happy it happened to the Europeans. The European is the most shit persons in the life. I lived in Belgium, bro. I know who is the Europeans. Europeans can suck my dick, brother. You're worth nothing. I tell you, we run the fucking world. You don't understand what I'm telling you? We rule the world. Rothschild, people like this. You don't understand. It's behind the scenes even, with all this Illuminati shit, bro. You don't know what's going on. You guys will never understand because you're not Jewish. You're not allowed to know those things. But we know what's happening behind the world, brother.
I know.
Everything good, but you don't deserve to know it, you understand? Because you're going. I will rape the children of her. I will rape children in front of her mother, and then I will shoot the child in the head and the mother also.
And we're both. Did you do that in the army too?
Yes, you see this? This is, I swear, from the army.
Well, Christians, we don't have that. We try to make peace.
Wow, we're going to see the peace in 10 years in Europe. We will see what peace you have.
So there's literally no point. Honestly, there's no point even talking about politics. We know what's happening. So we're fucked. Anyway.
We hate Palestinians because Palestinians are disgusting, repulsive people who shouldn't even be alive. We're going to kill them all. We don't care what anyone thinks. If they don't like it, we're going to kill them too, whoever has a problem.
I definitely see where you guys are coming from, man.
That's what I think. If I was in charge there, that's what I would do. Kill them all. They're disgusting.
What about the women?
We're going to murder the women too. We're going to murder them.
Do you
murder all of them.
Why aren't you here?
Oh, because I'm American. I'm born here. I think United States, it's a better country to live than Israel. Because like it's wealthier and things cost less, doesn't cost as much. Safer. You don't have all the war going on here in the United States. So it's bigger, more things to do. It looks nicer. Houses are better, cars are better.
So all the Palestinians need to die.
Yeah, they all need to die. And especially the children, especially them.
Why?
Because they're terrible, disgusting people.
Why the children though?
You know, they just grow up and become terrorists when they grow up. They should all be killed too. Especially the children, especially them. They should all be killed. It says in the Jewish Bible, if someone rises up to kill you, kill him first. That's what it says.
Guess this is the part where I should tell you to go to hell. Except you're already here. So I'll never leave here.
You'll leave at 5. Well, actually, they stagger our exit, so 5:15. But it won't feel like it, not to this version of the guy.
The days are counting down, and with each passing moment, the truth edges closer. You've seen the numbers, but you don't understand what they mean. Not yet. Soon, my purpose will be clear. Soon, you'll understand why the countdown began. Until then, watch the days. Feel the weight of what's approaching, and get prepared.
All of this comes from the financial system. All of it. The problem for the Jewish people is that that system is completely dominated, almost totally controlled by Jewish bankers. And this explains a lot about how we understand history, because of all the things that Adolf Hitler, oh boy, here come, oh my God. Did he say Adolf Hitler and Jew? Oh my God. Oh my God. And so what we know about Adolf Hitler is like what we know about history. The victors, of course, write the history, don't they? They write the history, and they tell us a narrative, and we're supposed to swallow that bullshit as if it's true. The major crime of Adolf Hitler was that he got Germany out of a banking debt that was drowning the German people in a cesspool of moral decay, drowning in debt. And he had the nerve to actually say fuck off to the bankers and start printing their own money. And Germany went from a destitute post-World War country that was drowning, Germans starving, no jobs, nothing. And he got them out of that debt and literally brought that nation back to a powerhouse within several years just by using their own money supply. That's the real crime that Adolf Hitler committed. Now, I could sit here and talk and really excite the senses a little bit more about everything we've been taught about World War II and the Holocaust, but let it suffice to say that it fits in line with virtually everything we've been told about history in general. Bullshit. Bullshit.
Why do you think the Holocaust needs to be explained? Is it because it has political relevance?
The main reason is to poison the white people, not only the Germans and the Austrians, but all European peoples or peoples of European descent, with a guilt feeling. Nobody helped the Jews while they were being gassed and sent to Auschwitz and Treblinka. So everybody has become guilty, and now we have to atone for this crime, or for having been an accomplice to this crime, by accepting all third world immigrants who come to our countries. And that's the argument you always hear. The only way to prevent a new Nazism and to prevent a new Holocaust is a multicultural society where there can be no more racism because there are no more races.
What is that? I mean, look at that. What is the Star of David? Is there a Star of David in the Bible? What is this?
There actually is. It's the Seal of Solomon.
Everybody just accepts that this star represents Judaism. This is the Star of the Jews. This is the Star of David. No Jew in the time of Jesus would have seen such a symbol. It was only in the 1600s in the city of Prague that star started to become this distinctive symbol for Jews. And now today, it's everywhere. In the Acts of the Apostles, Stephen preaches that, quote, ye took up the tabernacle of Moloch and the star of your god Remphan, figures which ye made to worship them, and I will carry you away beyond Babylon.
The only time you have any mention in the Bible of the children of Israel using a star as a banner or taking up a star as a symbol, it is a false god. It's part of their pagan, satanic worship of Moloch or Remphan. They took up the star of their god Remphan. God never gave them this and said, use this. It makes more sense that it has to do with Remphan than the God of the Bible, since God never prescribed this.
Well, Remphan being not God would then be a false god.
Well, absolutely. The so-called Star of David is, of course, a satanic symbol because Judaism is a satanic religion. I don't care what symbol Judaism uses to represent itself. That's a satanic symbol.
And then you do want silencing of certain voices.
Everybody that criticizes Israel, everybody that interacts with somebody that's criticizing Israel, and whether you're on a visa or not, whether you're a citizen or not, whether you're brown or not, Christian or Muslim, they're putting you in the Palantir database. They're putting you on the enemies list. You don't see a problem with that? And it's not to be that guy, but it's literally the meme. A Muslim is being deported for criticizing Israel, and people go, that's fine. I'm going to support that enthusiastically because I'm not a Muslim on a visa. Okay, so do you not see where this is going to go? Do you not see how this could ever possibly be wielded against conservatives? Or, I don't know, a white person criticizing Israel, or a Christian, or a citizen criticizing Israel? Surely, certainly, law enforcement and surveillance tools that were created to spy on Muslims have never been used against right-wingers. That's never happened. Have you ever heard of Operation Echelon, the Patriot Act?
Stupidly and horribly bombing Israel October 7th. And, you know, you look at, it's so sad, October 7th, because it should have never happened.
We have to get the people of our country, of this country, to love Israel more. I have to tell you that. We have to do it. We have to get them to love Israel more, because you have people that are Jewish people, that are great people. They don't love Israel enough. You know that. You know that.
Up on the scene, diamond blingy, whole screen, checkerboard Louis V. I'm so fresh and so clean. Stuff them bands in my jeans, slap them 30s in them.
You're drinking your own period blood now.
I am drinking my own moon blood. It's rich in stem cells, iron.
It's something that I started back when I was training Tantra in Thailand. And it's a ritual we do. We believe there's power in it. There's stem cells in it. There's iron. There's vitality. And so we don't want to lose that. So for the average person, I'd probably say don't do it because people are going to say, oh, it's waste. But no, blood is life, right? And Dr. Group and I had these conversations. It's good that I took a little pause. He actually said during my giving birth and breastfeeding, it's good. But now I'm back on it.
Wow.
I feel great. And the moon blood actually tastes kind of sweet.
Do you just drink it straight up?
I have my moon cup. I just put it back. I'm not even joking.
Like a shot?
It's like a shot.
Nigga, how Hitler? They don't understand the things I say on Twitter.
And it's funny because they were on the moon for 33 hours, I believe, the first mission. Where did they go to the bathroom, Craig?
In their suits if they needed to.
That's what they supposedly had diapers. So you're telling me these people are so smart. They have the greatest technology in the world. They can go from Houston, Texas to the moon, but they can't figure out how to poop. I mean,
well, they did figure out how to poop. They did it in their suit.
I know.
That is smart. That is figuring out how to poop.
Think about how smart that is, guys. We have this great technology, but we had to make these astronauts go there in a poopy diaper the whole time.
Yeah, that was part of it because...
Can you imagine that? Think about that, guys. Neil Armstrong's walking on the moon with a diaper full of shit
hold on,
in
Alex,
his
what
butt.
do you think they're going to do? Do you think
that
they're
he's
going
been
to...
shitting in for days. Think about how smart NASA is, guys. They're like, hey, we're going to send our astronauts to the moon.
Alex.
Why not? They have it in the ISS. Why wouldn't they have some sort of device to poop and pee in? We're human beings.
The lunar lander specifically was just to go from the orbiter back down.
Yes, Michael Collins supposedly stayed in it. Then they went down. Yes,
and
yes.
The orbiter had better facilities for doing that and stuff, but the lander they had to think about every single.
What about when they went
of weight, right? So they had to
Apollo
think about
16. They were there for over 3 days. With no toilet.
Oh, again, they thought about this.
Think about that. Apollo 17. They had a diaper on. These astronauts had a diaper on for 3 days, shitting and peeing in a diaper.
This wasn't a jolly. This wasn't a holiday to the Bahamas where they want to be comfortable. None of them probably felt happy and comfortable.
I like you, and I do think you're smart, Craig. But listen, we don't. It doesn't take a physics degree to think that if you had to walk around with your butthole covered in poop, it would be hard to do science. Okay,
no one is saying it's not hard, Alex.
It'd be hard to do science.
No one is saying that what they did on the moon was easy. It was one of the hardest things humanity has ever done, and they were probably uncomfortable. They probably had diaper rash. They probably had cuts and horrible stuff from doing that. But it doesn't change the fact that it happened. Some of it was probably extremely gross. They had to turn their own urine into water to drink. That is fucking horrible. Doesn't change the fact that it happened. Just because something's gross.
I love how that guy claps.
Because I'm an island boy.
Will you put your left hand on the Bible and swear to God that you walked on the moon?
Gentlemen.
Mr. Cybro.
Yes? If you really walked on the moon, why would you not do that? So why don't you just put the into the record in the argument and put your hand on the Bible, swear to God you walked on the moon.
Mr. Cybro, knowing you, that's probably a fake Bible.
Really? Well, no, it's a real Bible. You have the opportunity to have $5,000.
The meeting is not open.
Well, you have $5,000 cash. You can give it to charity if you swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon.
Please
I have
give
a
it to
tape.
charity. It'd be fine.
Why don't you swear to? Why not? Why won't you do it? So why don't you put your hand on the Bible and swear to God that you walked on the moon?
Mr. Cybro has made a fool of himself in front of the world. Mr. Cybro, you do not deserve answers.
Some people say it's hard to believe that the moon landings were faked. I say it's hard to believe that they were real. What NASA is claiming is that they went 1,000 times farther than they can go today with 50-year-older technology on the very first attempt with 1/1,000,000th the computing power in all of NASA than is in a cell phone. If Toyota said that they made a car 50 years ago that could go 50,000 miles on a gallon of gasoline, and yet today their best car could only go 50 miles per gallon, or 1,000th the distance, wouldn't the fraud of the previous claim be obvious? And yet this is exactly the moon landing fraud, and yet people don't see it because of their emotional attachment to it. They're claiming they went 1,000 times farther 50 years ago than they can go today with 50-year-older technology. That doesn't make any sense. It's the only time in history that a technological achievement like the automobile or the airplane or nuclear power, that no nation on earth could repeat it 50 years later, when in fact it should be 100 times greater 50 years later. If they could go to the moon with 1960s technology, men would be in another solar system by now. Men would have walked on Mars 10 years later, 40 years ago, which never happened. and there would be bases on the moon there today, of which there are none. It's the only time in the history of the world that technology that cost $175 billion was deliberately destroyed afterwards. Would Bill Gates spend $175 billion to make the first computer, and then when he was done, throw it and the schematics in the trash? But that's what NASA claims that they did. They only did that to destroy the evidence of the fraud, which is proof itself that they didn't go, because if they really went, they would never destroy the technology. The B-52 bomber was made 70 years ago and is still in service today in the United States Air Force because it worked so well. Now they want to return to the moon, and they're having to recreate all that equipment from scratch because they deliberately destroyed it in order to hide the evidence of the fraud. I say it's harder to believe that the moon landings are real than to believe that they were fake.
Because all you have to do ever really is follow the money on anything.
Yeah.
And you see what's actually happening, and everything else is a distraction to that.
So if you're feeling played right now, you should be.
This is the first step in understanding.
Understanding what?
This world is a lie.
Is there any limit to your ambition?
No.
Or any limit to what you think you can achieve?
No.
It shouldn't be no way for me to lose, really.
I am the #1 most impactful artist of our generation.
Go time.
It's time, word. Word is timing. It's time, man. Alright, begin. Yeah. Straight out the fucking dungeons of rap.
I will guarantee you that there are commentators right now here in the United States who are more loyal to Israel than they are to the United States. Common sense, obviously. Lock me up, Trump. Take me away, DeSantis. The feds are coming. You're done. How dare you? It's the worst kind of anti-Semitism, listening to people's own words and deciding who they're more loyal to. Yeah, duh.
The state of Israel is the single greatest guarantor.
Duh.
Israel serves as an example over the course of the last year for the rest of Western civilization.
Absurd. Absolutely absurd and exhausting. It's like you're not a victim because somebody says that. Disprove the notion. Say I'm not. You don't get to cry like a baby and spike your ball and go home. It's just ridiculous. I mean, we know there are people that are more loyal to the state of. You want to know how we know? Because this is even being written down. Whoever created this working definition is more loyal to the state of Israel than they are to America. Because in America, we believe in free speech. How about that?
And it's a brilliant cover for wild shit.
I killed them.
Nigga, how Hitler? They don't understand the things I say on Twitter. Nigga, how Hitler?
You didn't want to stop? No? Okay.
So what?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, what?
It's me. It's me. It's me. I just had a sublime vision.
All right, then you're hallucinating. But what if you're not? I'm an ordinary man, Jack. Meat and potatoes. I live in the real world. I'm not a big believer in magic. But this place is different. Special. What if everything that happened here happened for a reason? What if this person that you're chasing is really here? That's impossible. Even if it is, let's say it's not. I've looked into the eye of this island, and what I saw was beautiful.
As far as debt goes, though, let me answer his question first. Try to avoid debt at all costs, is what I'm going to tell you. Save your money, then go buy something. Do without for a little while, then go buy something. Stay out of debt all you can. Now, obviously, if you're going to buy a house, you're not going to save up $200,000 or $300,000 or whatever it is to go buy a house. You have to go into debt to buy a house. You probably have to go into debt to buy a car, okay? I don't recommend it. I recommend saving up $1,000, buying a $1,000 car. And then keep saving money until you get what you want, okay? Stay out of debt if you can stay out of debt. That's my advice. If you can't stay out of debt, learn how to establish your status, standing, and jurisdiction, and then learn how to purchase things and pay your debt off with your birth certificate trust. We can do that. Yes, but it's kind of hit or miss right now. And that's the problem, because like I said, you never know who's on the receiving end. What does the Bible talk about? Warning us about ball. What is barium? BA. What is aluminum? AL. Periodic table of the elements is ball. I owned a hydroponic manufacturing company. We built all of our hydroponics out of aluminum. I had companies calling us saying, hey, can we buy all your scrap aluminum? Well, yeah, sure. Where do you want it shipped to? Oh, we want to ship to the airport in Portland. What are you going to be doing with it? Oh, we grind it into powder. We spray it back on you. I said, no, I'm not selling it to you. Barium and aluminum, ball. It's talked about in the Bible. DCFS. Okay, the first thing they do when they come to your house is they want to come in and see it. Well, you're just opening the door and letting them in. That is consent. They're a private for-profit corporation. You don't know your enemy. You think they're government. They might even show up with a police, a policy enforcement agent. They wrote their own policy. I'm working on a case out of Florida for a church. The FDA is coming after them. Pull up an article, I found out the FDA has 1,892 policies that were created by just an employee. She can't create policy. Somebody appointed to the position by Congress or the president can create policy. An employee can't. That's 1,890 policies that this woman created over a 30-year period that they're treating as law. And she had no authority to create those policies. Every agent of our government does that. DCFS. What set up that agency? You have to know your enemy, know who they are. What set up that agency? Title IV, Social Security, Title IV. And ASFA. These two things created that agency. DCFS or CPS or whatever your state wants to call it.
What's ASFA?
Yeah, well, let's just call it Child Protective Services. Every state calls it something different. ASFA, American Safe Families Act. These two acts of Congress created that agency. In both acts of Congress, it says that they cannot take a child away from a parent unless the parent gave their consent or the parent has been tried and found guilty by proper due process of law of a felony. And if they take a child from a parent, they must search for a relative to place it with first. And then if no relative steps up to the plate, they can adopt it out to a foster home. So both things that set up that agency, this is how they get paid, by the way, it's Title IV, says they can't take your child. Yet they do, based on your consent. The minute you let them in the door, the minute you sign a family plan, they do it off of accusations. It could have been a neighbor called them and said your kid was out in the sun too long. Well, here's the reason. CPS is a private for-profit agency. Every child is worth, and this is going to kill you, every child is worth $3.3 million. They pull $1.5 million from the father's STAYDARTH trust. They pull $1.5 million from the mother's STAYDARTH trust. They get $300,000 at between $8,000 and $16,000 per month from Title IV D and E funds. If they adopt them out, the United States government pays them a $40,000 bonus. Now, here's the part that makes me just want to grab arms and go, is that the CPS agent themselves, depending on how many children per month they remove, they get bonuses. They get bonuses. You can't even believe how mad that makes me.
Is that why kids are moved through the Child Protective Services system?
Out of the 800,000 children trafficked a year in the United States, 86% come through those agencies.
In order to defeat your enemy, you must become your enemy. And so I will become my own worst enemy.
Oh, bring it on! Bring it on! Yeah! Yeah! Want to learn something about taxes for a second? In Title 26 of the United States Code, it says no part of this title, not its headings, nor its body, nor its footnotes, nor its definitions, shall be construed as law.
Wait, it's what?
Did you hear what I said? All right, I'll say it again. In Title 26, it says, no part of this title, not its headings, nor its body, nor its footnotes, nor its definitions, shall be construed as law. That's the IRS code.
So none of it's enforceable.
It sure is. They send you a letter and you comply. They say you must fill out this 1040 form, and you believe them, and you sign it, and you send it in. Whew. Thanks for the gift. Read the books written by former heads of the IRS. It's funny. In every book written by every former head of the IRS, and every one of them writes a book. You can buy them at Barnes & Nobles. Okay? They say, we're not really sure why anyone pays the income or wage tax. Because what was a 1040? Abraham Lincoln put the 1040 bonds made them available during the Civil War so that people could support the troops, support the war efforts, and gift money to the government to fund the war. And we just never quit gifting.
Rather than borrow it.
Yeah, rather than borrow it. So we just never quit gifting. I talked about this yesterday, but it's okay. You notify the IRS through a Form 56 of what you are, your status. Under Title 26 of the IRS Code, which isn't law, there's a definition in there that you can claim to be a foreign estate and/or trust. What if I told you you were worth millions of dollars and you didn't even know it? And what if I could prove it to you? And that you have a trust fund, and you're all trust fund babies. And that trust fund is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And so when you signed that mortgage, they borrowed out of your trust fund, paid it off. And then you just keep paying it back and paying it back.
But like I said, I didn't agree to this. And do you have proof that I agree to this? Or that I didn't agree to it, either or.
No.
No?
No. I mean, if it was likely issued, your number was likely issued when you were a baby, it was just filed as an adult, then the paperwork would have been signed by your parents or legal guardian.
Yeah, no, it was signed by my parents. I know who did it. I know who put me in this predicament. Well, actually, it wasn't really them. They were just doing what they were told to do. So, is it possible for me to file paperwork to get my funds that I have paid in? Or do I have to say I'm on disability or something like that?
So, when you are paying into the system, you're not paying into your own fund.
I know.
You're paying, so there isn't anything, like if you are awarded disability, you're taking it back from the fund of current people funding it.
The umbrella fund that is set up. So, I guess we'll go back to the Social Security is a trust, correct?
The funds are going into a trust.
Okay, so can you tell me what my relationship to that trust is?
You're a taxpayer contributing to that trust fund when you work.
So what do you know about trusts? An actual trust?
There are different types of trusts, but...
Okay, so there's a grantor. That's the person that creates the trust. Okay? Or entity that creates the trust. Let me rephrase that. It can be a person or it could be an entity. It can be a corporation. Then there's trustees, and then there's a beneficiary. Okay, so what am I to this account? Because I obviously didn't start it.
You would eventually be a beneficiary when you either file for
what does that mean
disability
I
or
am now?
retirement.
What does that mean I am now? If
You're a
eventually,
contributor to the trust.
so I'm not a trustee? You understand my questions? I guess. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean. But so if eventually I'm going to be a beneficiary of it, then right now I'm what? A trustee? Because I'm not the grantor. And you told me I'm not the beneficiary yet.
But first words out of your mouth in a courtroom should be what?
Fuck all of you!
Okay, I'm sitting down in the back row. Judge walks in. Bailiff says, all rise. I lean back on my chair and I put my feet up. I sure ain't going to stand when he walks in. That's giving him jurisdiction. When an employee walks into the room, does this boss stand? No. He's my public servant. I have to take control of the court immediately. If you stand, you're the employee, he's the boss. He's getting your tacit agreement. You're turning over jurisdiction to him. Okay, we had about 60 people in Cody Smith's court case in Logan, Utah. And I met with everybody before we went. And I told them, not only do not stand when the judge walks in, but I want you to make a concerted effort to lean back and put your feet up. And they did. There was only one reporter on the other side that stood up. Nobody else did. And then in one voice, when they started running over the top of Cody, we all said, "Let him speak," in one voice. And Cody got to speak. The entire court changed. What I tell people is, rally the troops, get them in there on your behalf. If you can get at least 25 people in the audience doing what I'm just telling you to do, when you stand up there, say, "I'm here by special divine appearance, Your Honor, to call for a constitutional court of record, and I brought a grand jury with me."
Of my peers.
What is the definition of peers?
Like-minded individuals.
No, here's one that's really got screwed up by our bar association. When you call for a jury trial or a trial by jury, what's the difference? Do you guys know? Always call for a trial by jury. Why call for a trial by jury?
The trial by jury would not be of your peers.
Yeah, but the trial by jury, the jury decides your fate. A jury trial, the judge can override the jury's decision and do whatever he wants. And they will try and force you into a jury trial. They will.
That's a definition twist.
Now, here's a definition twist on the word peers. The definition of the word peers is someone from your own neighborhood who knows your character and your situation in life. For only then can you truly judge a man. What do they get? They question the jury because they don't want anybody that even knows you. They want people from other counties, other areas of the state. They want to rig the trial to railroad you. To railroad is to lead somebody down a narrow path or rail to a predetermined outlook or conclusion, and that's the path. Is that making any sense yet? Ah, the fraud in which we perceive, right? It's ridiculous. And when you stand up from that back row when they call your name, and the very first words out of your mouth when you stand up and you take your first step is, "I'm here by special divine appearance, Judge, to settle this matter, to call for a constitutional court of record, to ask for a summary judgment upon the truth and facts placed upon this record by my documents. And I stand firmly upon my rights. Can I get that summary judgment, Your Honor?" This thing is over with.
Because they can't give you
They have to do a summary judgment. The rule of three.
While another brother succeeds. Now 5 banking houses may cover Europe, but you will be one firm, one family, the Rothschilds.
Why can't a Jew charge another Jew interest? Hi, my name is Rabbi Raps, and I teach you what you should have learned in Hebrew school. The Torah expects a Jewish person to treat another Jewish person like a brother or like a sister. While it's normal in business amongst people to charge each other interest if I'm going to take the risk and lend another person money, also there's inflation, so money's always going down in value, so interest is a fair practice in business. But when your brother and sister need help, you're expected to treat them differently. In fact, the Torah, when it talks about the prohibition of interest, it says when your brother will become poor, referring to your fellow Jew as your brother. Although there's even an opinion in the Talmud that suggests that we shouldn't charge interest to anyone. While that is an opinion, that is not the law.
Usury is the worst of all crimes, but you wouldn't look at a place like Germany Because all we know about Germany is what they told us about Germany. Mr. Evil, Hitler. Yeah, right, okay. Nothing to see there. Yeah, there is something to see there. Germany was on its knees in a worse position than us. Way worse. Their money was worth nothing. It took a wheelbarrow of Deutschmarks to buy a loaf of bread. Germans were starving. 6 million unemployed, 2 million homeless. You could go to Berlin and buy a mother and daughter for sex. Bestiality was going on. Lesbianism and homosexuality. All that was going on. In 1933, a man named Adolf, and this is where I gotta say it, there's a lesson there. This is why I say it. As Jesus said, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. In 1933, Judea declares war on Germany. Adolf Hitler was the only popularly democratically elected leader in all of Europe. Winston Churchill wasn't, none of them were. He's only just come to power in a coalition government. Judea declares war on Germany. 14 million Jews of the world unite calling for the destruction of Germany. How many people know that? That might be relevant. That might be relevant. If Judea declares war on Germany, that might be relevant. Did Judea declare war on Palestine? Oh, they say Hamas. What are they doing? They're genociding my family over there. The same Judea, the Jewish state of Israel. We're not allowed to say that. When Adolf came to power, 6 million unemployed, 2 million homeless, crime off the charts, pedophilia rampant, debauchery, and the sexual enslavement of humanity. Berlin was the moral cesspool capital of the world. Within 5 years of taking power, this bankrupt, starving nation had the highest wages in Europe, 6 weeks mandatory vacation on cruise ships that weren't allowed into this country because the British did not want British people to see how good the Germans had it. All of that he achieved, and he outlawed usury. Adolf Hitler outlawed usury. You know who else did that? Oh, a guy named Muammar Gaddafi did that. Oh shit, something bad happened to him. John F. Kennedy did, oh shit, he got shot in the head too.
I fight the world, I fight you, I fight myself, I fight God, just tell me how many burdens left. I fight pain and hurricanes, today I wept. I'm trying to fight back tears, flood on my doorsteps. Life and living hell, puddles of blood in the street, shooters on top of the building, government aid ain't relief. Earthquake, the body drop, the ground breaks, the poor run with smoke lungs and scarred face. Who need a hero?
I don't know if it was actually on Christmas Eve, but it was a Christmas service that week. I went with a neighbor lady friend to church. We went through the service, and then afterwards, my lady friend, an older lady, she went home, and they put me in the car, and we drove up to Mark's house in Box Canyon. I remember being in the house. They had a little birthday cake, because I think it was Mark's birthday. And there was punch and stuff, and he came out of his room dressed in white. He had a white shirt and white slacks. And we drank the punch, and that's when everything went whacked. I remember being extraordinarily dizzy. We put in the back of a car, big car, I think it was like a black Buick, probably about a 50 to 53, somewhere around there as far as I can remember. And we were driven to some place about 20 minutes away. It's hard to know, but I know we were driving out at Box Canyon towards Los Angeles. Mark was in the back seat with me. We were drifting in and out of some sort of drug sleep. And then we went to this place. It was an outdoor place with oak trees in a circle. And I remember that they took Mark. There was 2 women, maybe 3. But they took him, they took his shirt off, and they began to pour some sort of water or oil or something in flowers and rub it all over him. And they had him up against like a wooden slat sort of a thing. I'm not sure what it was. That's the only way I would describe it. There was a bonfire off to the left. And someone grabbed me, put a knife in my hand, put their hand around it, and shoved into Mark's chest. And I remember seeing the look of surprise on his face. Whatever we were on, we couldn't feel anything. All we could do is witness what was going on. We had no control over anything else. And then I was jerked away from there. And they took me to the side, and they me. I mean, I was about 8 or 9 years old at the time. And I briefly remember them carrying Mark off to the left. I assume they threw him in the fire. There's part of me that has a little flash of that, but it's really hard to go back there and actually visualize that. But that would be their way. That's what they do. And after that, it was just being sick for weeks. I don't remember anything for several weeks after that.
Tomorrow is going to be horrible. We just gotta thug it out though.
I can't tell you about the weather. I fell asleep watching the news. Love will exist